what
Yes.
we in America call it middle school. Yes. And I taught middle
Exactly.
school math for many, many years. And now I teach adults on Zoom that have dropped out of high school, and they are coming back to get their high school diplomas. So I teach math and some science as well. So on Zoom, actually I teach, my students are in Oklahoma and I am in Arkansas. So that's really nice. So we do a lot of camping. We have a camper, and my husband has a family farm in Kansas. So we go up there sometimes. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nancy. It has been 1 year since I visited USA, especially Arkansas.
Yes.
But the memory is still with me fresh as
Good.
today and yesterday. Now I would like to share a few slides that are associated with you and your beautiful family.
Okay. Okay.
Share a delicious lunch for me and for my friends from Vietnam and Colombia. And you can see this is the menu that Nancy prepared on that day. It's so different cuisine. In fact, as far as
Yeah.
Indian cuisine is concerned, this particular cuisine is different, but I enjoyed this. Yes, this is the photo that we took on the day with my other friends from Vietnam and Colombia. And this is something which
The
actually,
tacos. Yes. Yes.
in fact,
Tom. Yeah. Tom took a picture of that too.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. In fact, these food items, most of the food items actually are not supposed to suit my taste buds, but I tasted these delicacies, in fact. And
Yeah.
this is one of the,
That food was really more Mexican food that
yes,
Jesus from
absolutely,
Colombia
absolutely.
would have eaten. Right.
Yes. This is a rare photograph with Nancy and my friends. And you can see this is the game I like it so much, Nancy. In fact, I
Good. Good.
love this game so much.
Good.
What are the skills and techniques that you feel would benefit your students?
What techniques would benefit my students there? Okay. More, I would say, to make math, because that's the main subject that I teach, to make it very applicable, to bring life into it, to see that they really do use this math out in the real world here too. Frequent tests to test how they are doing, a lot of procedures and routines and repetition, a lot of student involvement. I change activities frequently to keep them motivated and to keep them learning here. I try to do games and fun things with them. And just to repeat that main idea that I'm trying to teach a lot then. Those would be kind of the main things I think here, and helping each other, too, as well.
Thank you.
Of having people over to our house. We feel very blessed to have this house, and it's big enough to have a lot of people over. So, and for years we have had international students and international people over, and we just want to be able to share it and be able to get to know other people from different parts of the world too. I just teach part-time on the computer on Zoom, so I have a little bit more time to be able to do that. But we enjoy getting to know people and having people over, and And the food, you know, like Hari was mentioning, the food is, and I cook a lot. So I like to share with but it is difficult when we do have internationals over, even Americans too, because we don't ever, I want to try to cook something that everybody will like. And it's the food, and Hari will be able to tell you, out of the 7 weeks that you are here, the food is what you miss the most. And but anyway, yes, we love it. We've had international students before, several times in our house.
So in fact, Nancy, to organize and to host these sessions, you need a big heart, because if you don't have the big heart, you can't do it continuously from time to time. So you are absolutely amazing, Nancy. So
Thank you.
Fatima, over to you.
Yes, sir. Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
My name is Fatima, an educator from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I will so glad today to ask a question. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes.
What are the most important skill of 21st century?
I think probably technology is becoming, I mean, it's definitely here. That would probably be worldwide. And Hari, let me know if I need to talk slower or more clearly for the students here too, okay? But I started teaching before a lot of the technology was here, and I really believe that we call them the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic in America. Technology can be very good in a lot of that, but I see as a math teacher in America that students do not know their math, and they rely too much on technology. But it's going to be here. Trades, different kind of, electronics, dealing with electronics, or welding, or just specific trades, I think are very important. My son-in-law is a photographer and a videographer. He went to college a couple of years, but he saw that college, the university, was not really going to help him. So he got a mentor and learned and has done very, very well in his photography business here too. I would say languages, too, particularly English, engineering, and creating new things, medical advances, in the medical industry. All of those, I think, would be things we would be seeing more and more of here.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
This is an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S School, Ilavaram. I am so glad today to ask you a question. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead.
What techniques do you use to engage reluctant students?
Reluctant students here. My students now, my adults, have dropped out of high school, and they're coming back to get an education, and they have experienced a lot of defeat. And so the more praise I can do, any individual thing, any time I can give them more individual help, patience with them, just lots of encouragement. I need to always begin where they are at their level. So they may be really low, but I need to be able to connect with them where they are, make it very applicable to them, show them this is really applies. You really do use this, make it fun for them. And have other students help them as well. That helps a lot. They may not necessarily understand it from me, but if they get somebody else to help them. And I'm just constantly thinking, you know, sometimes I'm in the shower and I think, oh, this would be a good idea here, you know, about how I could break this down. You know, anytime I'm out, I can think of ways to help them and to break it down, make it easier for them.
Yeah, that's
too.
the really the great quality of excellent math teacher. Actually, the
Thank
teacher
you,
excel.
ma'am, for answering to my question.
So,
Yes, you are welcome.
Nancy, in fact, in my ideology also, a perfect teacher comes down to the level of the teacher,
Yes.
level of the student, and he teaches according to his needs. And then
Yes.
only he can be said that he's
Right.
the role model teacher.
Yes.
So, Navis, your side,
But I
please
think
start.
what inspired me to be a teacher, I think
Yes,
that
yes.
was her question,
That's
right?
the question.
Okay. Well, as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a teacher. I like relationships. I like being able to help people. And I teach, I feel like I want to get to their heart. I teach students, I teach whether they're kids, children, or my adults, and I use math to be able to reach, you know, their heart here too. I would at our church, I started teaching young, you know, and I've taught from babies, from 6-month-old babies up to adults, all ages there. There were a couple of movies way back when I was growing up that you probably wouldn't have even ever known, but that really inspired me. They had a couple of teachers in them that really inspired me. My day as a teacher is never dull. It seems like 5 minutes long. And because it's just so different, you know, because I like working with people. My husband is an engineer and he makes a lot more money than I do, but his day would just drag on and on and on and on. And he sits in the little cubicle, you know, in his little office, and I don't like that. I couldn't stand that, you know, but I make a whole lot less money, but my day I feel like is a lot more meaningful.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Rehan, over to you.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
This is Rehan, an eighth grader from Z.P.H.S School, Ilavaram. I would like to ask a question. Can I ask, ma'am?
Yes.
Here my question is, could you please tell us about road rules of the USA?
Okay, the road rules of the United States here. Okay, okay. That was a really interesting question. Yes. Well, in the United States, we drive, the driver is on the left side. I don't know if are you all on the right side? Is it on
Yes,
the
yes,
right
it's
side?
opposite.
Okay. Okay, because of the British influence there. Okay, so the driver's on the left. For the most part, of course, the big cities are, you know, I mean, it's the same rules everywhere, but you have a lot more traffic in the big cities. But everybody has to obey them. From what I have seen, and I've traveled some out of the United States, I mean, we get a lot of, and just about everybody has a car here. I mean, that's different than a lot of places. Okay, so there's a lot of cars on the road here. But it's not chaos. You have to follow the rules. And from what I've seen in other countries, everybody kind of goes, but you do have to follow the rules. I mean, there are policemen that will give you tickets and you pay fines and so forth. The speed limits are higher on the expressways and toll roads. You do have to change, when you change lanes, you have to use your blinker on this. You can get a license to drive when you're 16 here, but you have to have insurance, you know, to do that. You could turn right on red. And if you do have car wrecks, it will make your insurance go up, you know, too. The insurance is more expensive Well, it'll start getting cheaper when you're about 25 to 30 years old. The most expensive insurance will be people who have had wrecks, and usually boys and young men, okay, rather than the girls there too. I don't know if
Yes,
that answered any questions
yes,
here.
yeah.
So,
Yes, I have a question, Nancy.
yeah,
Actually, I have traveled with you in your car maybe
yes.
5 times. The way that you drove the car was as good as a youngster driving in India, and you drove faster than maybe the youngsters in India. And is there any speed limit in your country? That means you should maintain the speed from ranging from this to that. And what is the average speed limit for every driver to maintain?
Well, it depends on where you are. Did I scare you, Hari, when I was driving? Okay. I've driven a lot. I mean, I've been driving since I was 16 here. But if you're in the neighborhoods, it's 25 miles per hour. So everything is in miles here, in versus kilometers here too. So if you're in the neighborhoods, those are going to be the smallest, the speed limits. Okay. If you're in a school zone, you know, they will really fine you big time. Okay. If you speed in a school zone because of all the kids and stuff around. If you're on the highways, you can, you know, it just kind of depends, 60, well, it just depends on, if you're traveling from one town to another and you're on a highway, that can be 70, 75. In Texas, they even have some special toll roads that are very good roads you have to pay on that are even 85 miles per hour. Okay. Now, I know in Germany, once you get on those highways, they don't have a speed limit, you know, those special, the Autobahns, but we do. You can usually, they won't stop you unless you're going like more than 5 miles over the speed limit. So if you're on a street in town, though, if it has, usually it's 35 to 40, 45 miles an hour, depends on if there's a lot of if there are a lot of stores and people around there too.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, it's been a long time. It's been many, many years, Hari, since I've had a speeding ticket. So I really probably wasn't speeding though. Okay, but I had you.
yes. Another interesting thing, Nancy, I have seen homeless people in American roads. I have seen a few homeless people. So,
Yes.
how about the government? Is not the government do anything regarding these homeless people? Is there any financial benefits that these homeless people get from the government support? Because every
Yeah,
time we go out, they are there in the street corners and asking
right.
asking for help. Uh,
Right. And when you were here, did you travel anywhere else besides Arkansas? Did you go anywhere else?
Actually, I didn't have that opportunity. In fact, I planned, but I
Okay.
didn't.
Okay, because some groups have went to New York. I mean,
Yeah.
some groups that we had come through would go to New York, or
Yes.
you'll really see a lot there. You know, those people that do that, a lot of them. Oh yeah, you remember? Yeah, my
How are you,
husband.
sir?
Yes,
How are
that's
you?
my husband here. Yeah, so he just came in from getting gas in his truck here.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, those people, a lot of them have mental problems, you know, and they may have been in a war and had what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Some of them know what they're doing, and some of them I mean, make a bunch of money on there, and that's kind of, you know, but for the ones who really need help, there are a lot of sources. Like Dan, my husband, works at a place called the Compassion Center that is run by a church, and they give out food. You know, you can come in and get a whole bunch of food once a month. So a lot of people would find, because the inflation in the last 3 years has really shot up, and it's just, if things are a lot more expensive. So people, I mean, they may work, but they still need services and stuff. And there are a lot of different government services. You know, some people just choose to be this way, you know. I mean, I think it's some mental problems, you know, too. And drugs. The drug has made them, you know, being on drugs has made them be like that. In bigger cities along the coast in California, New York, and so, you know, there are a lot of homeless people. It's very expensive to live in California. I have a nephew that lives out there. He lives in his van. He has a van, you know, and he lives in that. And it's just very expensive. And there's just a lot of drugs, a lot of politics. You know, if the leaders of those states do not crack down and make laws, you know, then it's going to affect the people. And
Yeah.
so the politics, you get in the way of thinking in some of the states. Arkansas is what we would call a more conservative state. And then on the coast are more liberal. And so they have more problems. They have more problems there.
Yes, I do agree with you. And Ritika, do you have any question?
Sir, good
Please.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
My
Good
name is
evening for you guys.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Ritika. I am an 8th grade student from Z.P.H.S Ilavaram. I am so privileged to interact with you. Namaste from India. Here my question is, what kind of schools are popular in your region, Arkansas?
Okay, what kind of schools are in our region here?
Yes.
Okay, are popular in our region here. Okay. I mean, we have all kinds of schools. I mean, from when you're before school, preschool, you know, situations. But everybody in America, what we try to do is get everybody to go from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Some drop out of that, you know, and then I get them as a student here. There are, once you get to high school, which is about 15 years old, okay, you can, some of the students go to VOTEC schools, vocational technology, where they may learn a trade. They still have to go to the main school to get like English and math and some of the basic things, but they will also sometimes do an extra trade. We have community, once you get out of school, there are community colleges that are cheaper than like the University of Arkansas. That's going to be, you know, more expensive there. From kindergarten through 12th grade, there are public schools that are free, that tax, you know, our taxes go to. Some schools are what we call charter schools, where they are run by private organizations. They are still free, but they don't have all of the public school guidelines as to have to go by. I taught in a public school half of my career, and then I taught in a private Christian school half of the career. There are a lot of private schools, and the parents must pay for that, for the education there. And many are Christian, but not all of them, okay, on there. Then there's also a lot of students that are homeschooled, who the parents will teach them at home. And there's a lot of curriculum. There are a lot of sources out there that they can use. You could also, you know, I'm thinking of one example. you could even be in the public school, but do all of it online, okay, as well. So we have some friends that their son and daughter-in-law, their daughter-in-law is a nurse, and they bought a big, huge camper, and they travel around, and she's a traveling nurse. So she goes to one place for 3 months, is a nurse there, and he teaches their 4 kids out of that camper, and it's all online. And then they have the opportunities to go around to all the different places and learn from those places. And then after 3 months, they move on, where she has another nursing job to a different place. And it's a fabulous experience, in a lot of ways there. I'm sure they kind of miss their friends, but they're, you need a parent though that knows what they're doing, as well. So anyway, that's, so a lot of different kinds, and especially after COVID, I think a lot of parents saw really what went on in a lot of the schools. So they opened up their eyes to different ways that you can teach, and students learn in different ways too.
Yes, yes. So ever since the COVID-19 affected the country, I think that many schools and students, they are switching to blended learning, online
Yes.
and offline learning, and the
Yes.
hybrid learning is also taking
Yes.
place almost everywhere.
Hybrid, absolutely. It's very
Yes.
good.
And Madhavi, do you have any question?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
I am so glad today to ask you a question. Here, my question is, what is your teaching style or philosophy?
I probably have said some of this before in a couple of the other questions, but I love getting students involved and engaged to change the activities around, to make it fun, to keep their attention, to apply it to real life situations. And, my most important thing is to love these kids, to love my students, to care about them. When they know that I care about them, I have their back, I'm helping them, encouraging them, that helps them to thrive and to grow, to find the positive. If they are really, really low and have just given up, you could still get on their level, like Hari and I have talked about. You could still get on their level and reach them and find something good about them that they can use and their work. And the important thing is you never give up. You never give up. I have a student right now, an adult student right now, that had a lot of learning problems when she was younger. And this is probably her fifth time, maybe 4th or 5th time she has come into my class, because it just has taken her over and over. And this is the first time that I'm really seeing some answers, and some good answers, and it's sticking and clicking with her.
Okay, thank you. Before we wind
Okay.
up this session, could you please give a final message to my students?
Okay. I am so thrilled to be able to talk with each one of you guys. Thank you for the wonderful questions. Those were wonderful. And I really want to encourage you guys. First of all, you need to know what a great teacher you have here. Okay. He is great, and he loves you guys. He's always thinking of all kinds of different things for you guys to learn and to advance and to build up what you have. So keep learning. Have a love of learning all of your life. And that is exciting. And if any of you come to the United States, you are welcome to come to my house too. Okay. And